Hello again. Thanks for joining us this morning. My colleagues on sign language, Nhlanhla as well as Fortune Masala. Welcome to the program once again. The funeral of 3-year-old Langalam Viki, whose body was found in a pit latrine, will take place at Buffelsdoring in the Eastern Cape today. Viki died inside a pit latrine at Mcwangcele Primary School last week, Monday. Her death casts the spotlight on the Department of Education, which has promised to eradicate pit latrine toilets in the province. However, the department indicated that installation of a flowing sewer and sanitation is a directive of Water Affairs and the Sanitation Department. SABC News reporter Abongile Jantjies gives us a live report from the funeral service of this young learner. Abongile, a very good morning to you. Thanks indeed for your time. This is deeply, deeply worrying. Why is this still happening? And has there been anyone held to account for Langalam's death? Abongile, I'm not sure if you're able to help to hear me. I'm asking, why is this still...
Increase the fader.
All right, we must apologize. There seem to be some connectivity challenges with Abongile Jantjies there, who is, of course, tending the funeral service of Langalam Viki, whose body was found in a pit latrine. The funeral service taking place at Buffelsdoring, that's in the Eastern Cape today. We'll try to connect with him a little bit later on. Indeed, very sad. All right. I think, are we continuing with my colleague Abongile Jantjies? I'm told we are. Abongile, a very good morning to you once again. You're attending this funeral, and very difficult circumstances for the family to contend with here. Why is this still happening, and has anyone been held to account for this young person's death?
Well, a very good morning to you, Criselda, and to the viewers. Well, it's a somber mood here at Buffelsdoring, here in the Eastern Cape, where 3-year-old Langalam Viki is being put to a final resting place. Well, she died last week, Monday, as we understand, and an investigation is currently underway. We were hoping by now would have received the results on that investigation, but it's still continuing, and quite frustration here, and even the family of her, particularly the mother Mcwangcele Viki, is really quite in shambles. She is really finding it hard to cope with the death of her child. And now, if we could show you here, if my colleague Vuyokazi Funani could show you that this is where we're at her final resting place. Even activists are calling that this issue of pit latrines at schools, it's something that needs more attention, and not only react when there's something of an incident of this nature that has happened. As you can see, the family there, as you can see, even the MEC for Education, Fundile Kade, is in attendance, but I'm sure this distance is depriving you from seeing him. But the activities here began from the school where the incident happened, and now to the home, and now at the place where we're putting Langalam Viki to a final resting place. And it's really quite a somber moment, and the family here is saying that the results should come to ensure that exactly what happened. They want that closure of what exactly happened to their child, because they didn't expect her to die after she had gone to get to be educated at that school. But let's bring in Petros Majola from Kula Development Project, and who's also an activist for children and women. Sir, thanks a lot for your time. We are here today at Langalam's final resting place. Your remarks so far?
Yeah, a sombering moment indeed, because we are laying the child to rest and to the final resting place, as you alluded. A 3-year-old, apparently she's 3 years and 8 months old. A lot of questions that we're asking, and we are awaiting the final results of the post-mortem that will definitely tell us what has happened. But at the same time, as the activists, because we're always here to advocate for children's rights, we are unhappy with the fact that there's such a backlog in terms of the infrastructure development. Looking at the minimum norms and standards for public school infrastructure when it comes to pit-latrine, we are disappointed that we are still far behind in terms of eradicating the pit-latrines in our schools. Because whether the child died as a result of drowning in the pit-latrine or someone had dumped the body, of which we will hear from the post-mortem. But the fact of the matter is that in that particular school, there is toilet pits which are not conducive for kids. Looking at that, I mean, when I started the school, I was old enough. I was about 6, 7 years. But now this child was 4 years old. And now you begin to ask yourself, in terms of the South African Schools Act, if those kids can be accepted in school, therefore the toilets must be made for children. But the government of South Africa and that of the Eastern Cape should rather declare this pit-latrine challenge under the disaster so that there can be more money to look at how best can the schools do away with the pit-latrines.
Speaking about money when it comes to this provincial education department, not so long ago it returned over 100 million rand, but still we're faced with an infrastructure backlog that you're talking about. How do you react to issues of that nature?
We need to check on that. What was that money for? Why was it returned? The reason I'm saying, if it was for learning and teaching support material or it was for school nutrition end, so we will have to investigate. We can't just say it was returned. We need to check what was it for. And then if it was meant to develop these toilets, and then we can talk and say, government, why did you return? Because when we talk infrastructure development, I get confused because there's Department of Public Works, there's Department of Education. Now we need to establish whose responsibility was it to do away with the infrastructure in the school. But
thanks a lot for your time, sir.
Thank you so much.
Griselda, that's Petros Majola from the Kula Development Foundation. Let's bring in the MEC for Education in the Eastern Cape. Mr. Gade, you are live on SABC News, sir. Thanks a lot for your time. We are here today. Now that the issue of pit-latrines has been brought up due to this incident, and recently the education department returned over 100 million rand, people are saying that it's an insult to the people in these communities. How do you respond to that?
No, it's a coincidence, precisely because in our own building and construction requirements, those are not pit-latrines. That's the unfortunate part of it. Yes, because they are VIP required standard toilets of that particular school. Hence, we then conducted a serious investigation as to what has happened here.
What has that investigation revealed so far?
Yeah, there are two investigations that are currently underway. For example, this week, the security cluster was investigating the school and meeting the principal, meeting the communities, and also the family concerned because of number of issues that has to be unearthed on this incident. One amongst them, there are preliminary investigation reports that indicate that she has got some head injuries, and also the body was found fully dressed, and which then poses more in terms of the intelligence investigation that must be done. But my view is that we must first be human first and later be officials of government so that we can be able to respond to the crisis that the communities are faced with. And because once we become more of the state machinery, we run a risk of being defensive and not learn anything out of these incidents. So that's the attitude that I have, that we must first be human first and be burying the kid, reconcile with the family concerned, without suggesting that there is somebody right or wrong, so that ultimately we can have a proper closure on the matter. Okay. But so far, I am happy with the current investigation. I met the investigations on Thursday this week. There are things that they are currently trying to establish up.
So, even though you say that, what form of action would be taken against this incident, on this incident? Because that incident could have been avoided. The school, when we went there, you and I went there last week, it doesn't even have security guards on site to guard these young people from going to the correct toilet. Had she gone to the correct toilet, we wouldn't be here today. So your interventions at that school and action that you are taking against those who were caught napping?
Look, in terms of the security provisioning from a policy point of view of government, we don't have security guards in schools. That's one element that probably government will have to learn out of this so as to make either a turnaround in terms of the police itself, because it has not been a priority before. The priority was to build infrastructure that has been there, to build fencing that has been there, to provide teaching and through teachers and provide learner support material, which is currently there. But this element now of either needing security personnel is becoming a thorn in the flesh of government. And I think I agree with you, there is a need of a discussion on that one, so as to revamp the police, or also to either create a budget for it. Because whether that kid fall in a toilet or was found in a toilet, for me that's not an issue. The issue, this is a human being. We must be able to avoid such kind of incidents, whether by design or by fault. That is immaterial for me. What is materialistic is life that now we have lost, and now we must bury a 3-year-old kid, which probably the family invested a lot in terms of hope and faith on her. So there are things that are no-go areas that government must just deal with them and close chapter on them.
MEC, thanks a lot for your time. We shall engage later.
Thanks a lot.
Criselda, that was Fundile Gade, the MEC for Education here in the Eastern Cape, giving us an update that on those investigations that are currently underway with regards to this incident, and saying that we also need to look into the issue of security guards at that school. You recall that the incident happened after school, and now it begs the question, as it was raised by Utatu Majola, that how was she found in a pit-latrine, fully dressed, and now the MEC is also revealing that she also sustained some head injuries. So as the investigation unfolds, more information is coming up with regards to this case. We shall bring you more as we head back to the home state.
Abongile Jantjies, thank you very much indeed for your time.